That was the evening of the accident. It was Tuesday, the 10th of September 1990, a day we will never forget, when our lives were turned upside down. David was an 11-year-old boy. He was cycling home from school and he was involved in an accident, and I stressed the word accident, in the main Oak Park Road in Tralee. He was hit by a telecom van. He was thrown 5 feet into the air, and when he hit the ground he broke the vital cord. David was the third in a family of 4. We had boy, girl, they were all healthy, our cup was full. He enjoyed a great life, he was very athletic, he was into judo, he was champion of the British Isles, he was an all-rounder in school, he enjoyed life, he had lovely friends who were up at our house on the Saturday evening before. All of his life was good. The ambulance was called, and by the time I came, the ambulance was just there. I was going on my way down to the Moydowell school to collect my younger daughter, who was 8 at the time, and I thought, oh, there's a real tailback up. And little did I realise, when I saw this young man on the street, that it was my son. And his very vivid green anorak was very obvious in the road. So, I just shouted at the people, move out of my way, it's my son. And I abandoned the car, and I went to him, and I spoke to him. And I said, it's okay to make a mistake, but how will we live without you? And 23 years later, it's still difficult to live without him. Because somebody said to me at the time, as life goes on, you'll always pull out a chair in your heart for him. And at every family function, my other children are married now, every occasion, every Christmas, everything, we pull out a chair in our hearts, which I think is a lovely expression for him. You asked me, did I know anything about organ donation? I'd heard the words. They're very positive words. They sound very good for other people. And that's the light that I saw them in at the time, that they brought joy to somebody, they brought life to somebody, and I never knew anything about the other side of the coin. I don't know much about the legislation, being perfectly honest with you. I don't know if you could prepare anyone for the enormity of organ donation, or if any lay. I'm not a medical person, medically trained, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. And for me to comprehend any part of it, I think, would be beyond me, to be honest with you. I was fascinated that night because in my innocence I thought organ donation won't match the blood type, because that's something I knew about, matching blood types. But now I just know that every tissue in the donor and the recipient have to be matched to the most minute detail. And that process went on all Tuesday night into Wednesday. And finally they had people that were anxiously waiting at the other ends of the phone who had received this wonderful news. I'm not consumed with thinking about them, but I'll just tell you who got the organs, in the broad sense of the thing. There was only one operation done here in Ireland, and that was a man that was in dialysis in Dublin. He got one of David's kidneys. I understand he was out of work for quite some time. He was on dialysis, he was married, he had children. He went back to work after the successful kidney transplant. Another person got his second kidney. A cystic fibrosis sufferer got his heart and lungs, and then an 8-year-old boy got his liver. So he's still very young. That 8-year-old boy is only in his early 30s, so he's quite a young man. So of all of them, I suppose I wish him very well and hope that he's doing really well and that he's many, many years ahead of him. But I'm not consumed with thoughts of them. If they came in the door of my home, I'd embrace and hug them, and I'd love to meet them in ways. And in other ways then it would be too difficult for them, because in the very early days, or the first years after David died, there was an organ donation mass in Dublin, and we went to it to commemorate organ donation. And we discovered that the recipients found it just as difficult to think that some beautiful young healthy boy had to die for them to live, and they were the ones that were doing all the crying at this organ donation mass. But they find it very, very, very difficult, and they're heartbroken for us in our loss, even though they're well themselves and they tell us that they pray for us every day, and I'm sure they do. I had no reason to doubt that they wouldn't, because if I got an organ from somebody, I know that I'd be lighting candles for them, and I'd be very grateful as well. So, but I saw the tragedy in their faces and how hard it was for them to receive the organs as well. So it's no picnic at either side of it. What good comes out of it, and people have a right to life. I would say absolutely do not be afraid of it. We'd no problem making the decision, because it sounds very maybe, self-praise or whatever category you put it into, but we'd be givers by nature, and to think that we could contribute to somebody having a better quality of life appealed to us hugely. So in that sense, the word organs, when the word was mentioned about by our own GP, he took us aside and he said, would you consider donating David's organs? We said a very spontaneous yes. It wasn't a decision, it was a spontaneous yes.